get ready to meet your new coworker, ChatGPT. Our next session is going to explore the exciting possibilities and potential pitfalls of incorporating the very latest, very hottest AI tool into your iGaming strategy. And in fact, as you noticed earlier, I am now a programmer/flowgrammer with my amazing demo with James King. Thank you very much for that. So let's actually get ChatGPT even on the screen, and let's get some help in putting together this next session from ChatGPT. Okay, ChatGPT, are you there? Come on down. ChatGPT, look at me. Oh yeah, there we are. Okay, here's ChatGPT. I'm going to ask it a question. Right. Dear ChatGPT, who are the best speakers for our next session? Let's chat. Are we one gaming tool away from removing brand identity? Okay. That's not too shabby. It's pretty fast. Let's see what ChatGPT says. Who are the best speakers in the world? Bring it on, ChatGPT. ChatGPT says, as an AI language model, I don't have personal preferences, but I can suggest notable speakers who are well regarded in various fields related to AI, tech, and the iGaming industry for the final panel of the day. And those speakers are partner at T2 Marketing International, Corey Padveen; Alexiei Dingli, Professor of AI at University of Malta; Aurimas Marcinkevicius, SEO expert at Betsson Group; Gesina Kunkel, Managing Director at impulsQ GmbH; and Simon Lidzen, CEO and co-founder at Fast Track. And as if by magic, here they are on stage. Give it up for ChatGPT's favorite speakers for our final session of the day. Thank you.
Well, here we are. First of all, thank you all for sticking around. I know it's been a long day. I promise we'll keep this short, no more than an hour and a half, and then we'll definitely get you upstairs for a drink. So first and foremost, I'd like to take a quick straw poll. First, thanks to the panelists. Thanks for everybody at iGaming Next for putting this all together. I want to take a quick straw poll from the audience. If I can see some of you up there, crazy that there's still people sitting in the dark corner at the end of the day. Out of curiosity, how many people here are currently using, have played around with, or are very well versed in large language models like ChatGPT? Just by show of hands. No. All right, so a handful. Actually, quite a few. Okay, great. How many people here would say that they are using it on a daily basis, or that it has completely changed the way that they work? So fewer, but still quite a few. So a good number. So I'm glad we have the conversation that we're having, because over the course of the day today, I can't tell you how many times I've heard the word ChatGPT mentioned. I can't tell you how many times the letters AI have never had such a time in the spotlight. And so I think one of the big concerns that a lot of people have had, and this is a question I'd like to open it up just to get the conversation started, a lot of concern has revolved around, is AI out to get me? Is AI, or large language models, is ChatGPT going to replace me and take over my job? So I guess, Simon, we'll start with you, seeing as how you already spoke quite a bit about this today with Fast Track. So go right ahead.
Okay,
let us know.
Can everyone hear me? Okay, is the microphone? Yeah, it's working. Good. I had a couple of mic issues before. So I mean, I think it's not really replacing yet. Maybe some. That there might be certain things that are happening that are impacting certain people's contracts with work in certain ways. But I think I want to say that from a ChatGPT perspective and what's happening with generative AI in general, I think Jenny put it really eloquently in her session up in the HR Connect track. And it's very much about low impact and high impact work and what we are sort of offloading. Right now, the priority is not really like sort of getting rid of or trying to use those sort of, being worried about losing jobs. It's a very exciting technology, and I think most people have so much to gain from taking advantage of it rather than thinking about how is this going to threaten my career. I believe that it is helping us. It's helping us focus more of our energy at high impact work, and there is a lot of things that it does really well. I mean, where if you have a huge text and you want to get out something out of that, maybe classifications, or you can get a lot of help in research. You can come up with variants on language. You can, I mean, in our space, when it comes to CRM, for example, in iGaming, which we are very involved in, and we talk about productivity in teams, it becomes so clear that there's so many tasks. Like you take an SMS that is three SMSs long. And that's not a very cost-effective way of sending communication to your players, for example. You can very easily use ChatGPT to help you shorten that. That could be a time-consuming task, but it's not really like the best use of my time, right? I can use my time for something else, hopefully coming up with new ideas and things that I can do instead, and do data analysis, whatever it might be. So yeah, that would be my little add to it. I don't think people should embrace this at this stage.
Sure.
I'm very optimistic about it.
Sure. Aurimas, your thoughts?
I can agree as well that it is more opportunity, not necessarily like a challenge or something negative. But I can say that, yes, some people will be impacted more than others. So probably the most impactful currently people I can see that would be impacted would be customer support people. Even now it's being outsourced offshore. Lots of AI bots are used at the moment as well, not as advanced. But when companies will start using more advanced models for customer support, especially when they can train these models with their own data from their own customer support to actually give proper answers to the users based on previous data, then most likely as customer support will definitely be impacted. Other people I see impacted is, for example, graphic designers with the models that are generating images. They might not necessarily be out of job, but let's say their job might be, let's say, less valuable, so they would need to adapt. So they would probably need to start using AI as well to compete with their own peers who use AI, and if they don't use, they might get behind.
So looking at it more as an asset, a value add to
Yes.
the individual rather than
Yeah, you will
a threat.
probably, let's say you will probably take a bit less money for your job, but you might do more
Sure.
work. And then probably at the end of the day, you might be earning even more than you earned before. But if you don't start, if you get behind, then you can be left out, to be honest. So like I would suggest quite a few people, yeah, who are affected to look into this if they still haven't. So yeah, that's my
Thanks.
opinion.
Gesina,
Yeah.
please.
So I think with every technology, like there are positive sides and negative sides, and I think with AI it's not different, right? So and I think AI is disruptive. So AI is changing like the whole existing structures in the whole industry and markets overall. But in my point of view, I think that AI won't take over entire jobs. It's just like I think AI will just take over some routine activities and not entire jobs.
Sure.
So that's my
The
opinion.
mundane, repetitive tasks that you can
Exactly.
assign.
Exactly.
You've always kind of wished
Yeah.
you could assign to a robot.
Yeah.
And Alexiei, please.
So can I back to the with what was said so far?
Absolutely.
Okay. I think you are underestimating the power of this technology. First of all, you have to keep in mind that we're here because of ChatGPT. Okay, if it wasn't for ChatGPT, probably we wouldn't be here on this panel today. But ChatGPT, without minimizing anything of its capabilities, I describe it like a full stop in a novel. All right? There are loads of other AI technologies which a lot of people are not aware of. Many of them are still in laboratories, they're being researched, but they're coming our way. And the effect of ChatGPT is big because probably you don't realize, but one of my expertise is natural language processing, which is this field of study. ChatGPT practically wiped out the entire field of study in a blink of an eye. So the profound effects of this technology is huge. And what will happen, I don't know, of course, I don't have the crystal ball, but for sure, there will be a lot of disruption. If you see report after report, we're seeing that, for example, a few weeks ago, there was the Future of Jobs report by the World Economic Forum. They're estimating that it will affect 1/4 of all the jobs globally. And keep in mind that it's not just about changing small tasks. First of all, we're still at the beginning of this revolution. And, a lot of people don't realize that this is only 6 months old. So we're talking about this because it's 6 months old. But think about what will happen in the coming months. And we're seeing a very rapid change in these past few weeks. Keep also in mind that even for us, that we program, we create code, the way in which we create code is very different than it was 6 months ago. Today, I don't need to actually write the program. I go to ChatGPT or similar technologies, I ask it for a particular function, and it actually creates the function for me. It's not right 100%, but most of the time it's pretty good. So even when it comes to development of software, it's being speeded up now. And that is why we're seeing this rush of new technology coming our way. And what I'm saying is not something that, it's happening now. It's happening all over the world. Just to give you an example, a few weeks ago, I was interviewing somebody from Toronto in Canada. He was an investment banker. And he told me something which set me thinking. He told me, listen, I do not employ juniors anymore. And I told him, why not? He told me, why should I? When I have an AI that is capable of doing the same thing for much less cost and much faster and probably even better. And that's problematic because these changes are becoming very rapidly. If you're a junior trying to start your career, now, where are you going to go? Because the AI is doing pretty much most of that. So, disruption is coming towards us. We are just in the beginning. And if you see the advances that happened in the past few months, I mean, we talk about ChatGPT, but there are loads of other models, Falcon, Bloom, the ones which are going to be integrated with Office now, the Copilot. So this wave of technology is coming towards us. And when it comes, it will change profoundly the way in which we work.
Well, I think that's interesting, and one thing I want to build off from that is a discussion about where we can go. I think that the area, to your point, and this is something that we've talked about prior to this, the space of AI is in its infancy. I think everybody sort of forgets that 6 months ago we weren't having these conversations because the GPT was not a series of letters that you would normally see next to each other, and now it's the only series of letters you see. And so I think a question that's worthwhile, both in terms of from the product side, from the SEO, and from the consumer-facing side, and from the bigger picture side, I think the question is, what does disruption look like in 6 months? What are we starting to see as we actually see this take shape? Right now, a lot of this, you have prompt engineers out there who are finding all sorts of fun ways to start using large language models. You have companies launching. I mean, you're looking at a couple of hundred companies and being announced every day. We were just discussing Mistral in France raising $140 million without a product. So I think the question to look at is in terms of that disruption, because a fourth of jobs. Let's keep it in the focus of iGaming here. But in terms of disruption, what sorts of disruptions can we expect to see in the world of iGaming, from product to SEO to just AI integrations on their own?
Okay. Let me just give an example so that it's very concrete and people can understand. First of all, keep in mind that you need to separate the hype from the reality, because there's also a lot of hype coming up with this technology. Some people only just heard about AI, but really and truly it's been 8 years with us, so it's quite a mature technology. But this is how I see it. So the future, according to what I'm seeing, is into hyper-personalization. So the level of personalization will reach levels which are impossible to do today, and they will become possible because of AI. And this will affect all the aspects. So a few months back, I was reading that a Hollywood director said that, listen, in 2 years' time, movies will be created by AI, entire movies. Now think about that, the possibilities of that. So I can create a movie like this in the blink of a second. I can decide that if I wasn't satisfied with Games of Thrones, I can just change the ending. I can decide that maybe I would like to be the film star in one of those movies, so my face will go and be replaced over there. So these are the possibilities that will be unleashed with AI. Recently as well, a student of mine, we tried an experiment. We got a movie, all right, and a movie, we created an AI to create a game out of that movie. So the input is actually a game, a movie, and you create the game based upon that movie. So that's why I say it's hyper-personalization, because now the aspirations, the desires, the dreams of people that are going to play can be customized specifically for their needs.
Well, and to the point of the hyper-personalization side of things, I mean, looking in the world of SEO, looking in the world of targeted communications, how would you say that the impact of hyper-personalization, and even in its infancy today, what do you see as sort of the broader outlook of using these tools for that focus of hyper-personalization? So Gesina, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so I think, is my microphone working? Yeah, it's working. So I think with, creating like personalized information for the users, I think that the search intent and also UX is going to probably increase. So yeah, that's what I see. Yeah.
Aurimas?
Yeah, with SEO, it's a bit tricky to personalize, to be honest, because like the only thing you see from the user is usually like what they were searching for. So of course you can, again, as Gesina mentioned, target specifically what they intend that they are looking for. Are they looking for information about specific game? Are they looking to play the game? Are they looking to play the game for money? Are they looking to play the game for free? So of course for that we can optimize the content on the page, but not necessarily we can hyper-personalize, because technically we have to show to Google what users are seeing, and usually we cannot have very different kind of content showed for the user and for Google bots, because otherwise we can get penalized. The only big difference I see that we can do is for the users that already have an account, let's say with Betsson. So you can personalize like what they see logged in on the website, like what games they might enjoy like to play. Let's say maybe they want to bet on specific competition, usually only interested in Champions League, for example. Then you can of course personalize for that it's prominent there. They see this recommendation engine for the games and so on and so forth. So this we can personalize, but it's usually for the logged in users. I think like you can do more.
Well, and I think you touched on a good point there, which is just from a pure play SEO standpoint. Obviously, you have to abide by certain rules. But I think this for you, Simon, the question of personalizing the entire UX from first point of entry to point of conversion and to nurturing. Where do you see the hyper-personalization fitting in there?
Yeah, I mean, I think everything is quite interesting. I like listening to you and your thoughts because I like it. It's just a lot of things and ideas coming around. Now, in terms of like iGaming, something that everyone needs to get their head around when you're looking at these things is that there is sort of building a proof of concept around personalization is actually quite an easy job. All right. The thing is that there are so many different variants in play when you actually start doing it, which comes into regulatory landscape. You come into responsible gaming. You come into different markets and different translations, different brands, and you have thousands of different content. It starts becoming very complicated very quickly, and that's what's been holding us back. Because I agree with you, we've been working with AI from the first day we started working in Fast Track. No one was excited about the stuff that we were doing from an AI perspective, training models, because you couldn't really touch it the way you can touch ChatGPT, because you can it's like you can have a relationship with a technology for the first time. It's like everyone, and that's something completely unique that we haven't experienced before, and that's why we're sitting and talking about it here. But from software company's perspective, tech company developing products like we are doing, we've been working actively with AI for a very long time, and I've seen these complexities firsthand, and I spoke about that in my previous presentation as well, that when I speak to leaders in the different organizations, whether it be Betsson or other places, they've been talking about personalization for the last 15 years. We were doing that at Betfair when I was working. That was a long time ago, right? And was at the top of the agenda back then because we knew that was going to be important. Actually executing is very difficult. You need the data, you need the infrastructure to be in place in the right way, you need all of the systems to talk to each other, because otherwise, once you're doing one thing over here and you don't talk with the CMS is not talking with the bonus engine or what it might be, then suddenly everything falls apart. So very little personalization is happening. You asked, what's going to happen in the next 6 months? I think I'm very excited about what we're doing naturally, because that's what I'm working with every day. Now we've developed this singularity model where you're able to create collections. You can put all of your content into one place and you can build your own algorithm straight in my platform. So you put an eligibility model up there and you're saying these are the things that you're not supposed to do, and these are the things that we want to prioritize content based on. Right now, that's being used for campaign management. There's absolutely no limitation that we in the future potentially use that for content or presenting games. But what we've done in that process is that we have classified content. We've already built it and we've told the machine, like, listen, this is the features, these are the different things that you need to know in order to do this job, right? And what's accelerated now with ChatGPT, which I think is super interesting from a data science perspective, is that you can now process like data, like text, open text, and you can do feature engineering. Like literally on the clock, you can say, all right, take these 15 emails, what's the tonality of them, right? You get something useful out of that you can analyze and you can use in data.
Sure.
That's going to happen very quickly. We're going to see products being rolled out, just like Copilot, Microsoft's, all of these different things. A lot of specialized products focusing on marketing, different areas that are going to enter that prompt engineering layer, create a middle layer, which helps us enable organizations with the technology. So I think there's going to be a lot of that. But organizations are going to take time to change because people's willingness to be part of the change is not the same, and that takes time.
Well, and you know, you mentioned something there too, as far as organizations taking the time. You mentioned in that process that one of the difficulties obviously revolves around regulatory bodies. We're in in case you didn't know, a heavily regulated market, no matter where you are, as particularly if you're working above board in any market where you're offering wagers. And so I think one of the questions that I think is a good one to ask, particularly for the world of iGaming in particular, is at what point does this become a question for regulators? And more importantly, is this a chicken and egg scenario where do you have the operators who start playing around with hyper-personalization, large language models, and AI, and then have the regulators step in? Or is this a question where the operators are better off waiting for the regulator to come in and say, here's how we see this working? Because I think we could all agree that regulatory bodies are going to factor in heavily into the use of AI, particularly when you're talking about a regulated market like gambling.
Can I add 2 points?
Sure.
I'll combine this. It's true what you said, that companies will take time to adapt. But I think the name of the game at the moment is not that AI is going, and it's not a quote, it's not my quote, okay? It's not that AI is going to take over your job, but a company that uses AI will take over your job. I think that's the advantage of first mover. And linking to what you said, what will happen is that companies will start adopting AI, sort of passing through an area or a period which is unregulated.
Right.
Why? Because it's very hard to catch up with all of these technologies and changes. So regulation will take time until it will catch up. And I think that is the advantage of the first mover that a lot of companies can take advantage on. The second thing I wanted to point out as well is the issue that there seems to be this implication that the main entry point is via search engines, which is true. I believe most of the traffic comes from search engine, no? But remember, with the new models of ChatGPT, that is being obfuscated totally. I mean, if you try to use Bing, which at the moment is integrated with ChatGPT, Bing decides what you should see and what you shouldn't see. So, it's not like you're on the list of pages and your page is somewhere over there. Now the algorithm is actually deciding that you should go to Betsson and not to someone else. So unless ChatGPT decides that you should feature in its reply, then you're totally excluded. And this is a very profound change in what is going to happen.
So for Gesina, let's say, do you think that would something like that be more a question of optimizing your content for the user, or instead of optimizing the entire experience? Because if the AI is designed to recommend based off of the content that's been developed, would it make more sense to focus the use or the optimization on optimizing your content for an AI system rather than optimizing the acquisition structure, which could sort of circumvent the regulatory process or the regulator face to face?
I think Ori can answer this question better than I can, because this is like a
Sure.
SEO topic,
Yeah,
right?
so talking about Google and SEO, so basically, yes, I agree that Google is kind of under fire and has lots of competition now. That's why they recently announced Red Alert in their company. That's why they started focusing on AI more than they ever had, because they can get left behind, basically. When they saw the OpenAI ChatGPT, they saw that, hey, we have to move fast, because they have some of the best people working on AI for like 10 plus years, but they were moving very slowly, very carefully. And then when they saw OpenAI moving fast, not as carefully, testing things out, either good or bad, then they decided, no, we don't want to left behind, and we have to do something. So that's why they launched their own AI engine. That's why they are kind of cannibalizing now their own search even results. So basically answering questions through AI for the users. So basically users then might not even go to the websites from where these answers were coming from. But at least Google is kind of, let's say, has intention of keeping the real websites ranking, keeping them getting traffic, because otherwise it's like making them money, basically. So they have to do something. So at least from Google's side, when they are showing in search results an answer through AI, they at least mention from where, from which websites these answers are coming from, and you can even click, go and read like the full article. So for Google, yeah, it's tricky because they can cannibalize their own business and they have to be very careful. In terms of AI content, yes, with iGaming, we need to be very careful because there are certain things in certain markets which we cannot mention in our content. So if we blindly use content from AI, we could even get fines in some markets. Sure. Basically, somebody definitely needs to check it. Somebody needs to rewrite it. So need to be very careful in terms of that. And EU actually now is looking into certain regulation. Hopefully it will be the first kind of region that has these regulations. We'll see how it will end up with. But at least for now, I saw somewhere mentioning that EU might ask Google, Twitter, and social media companies marking AI-generated content that, hey, this image or this text was generated by AI. So basically, they either have to check it themselves or ask their users to do it. I'm not sure how this will work. But basically, this is mainly to avoid fake news. Sure. But I can imagine this will also affect marketing and like similar areas, basically.
Well, and I think you bring up a good point. I just want to close out by asking a question that I'd like everybody to jump in on really quick. As far as the ethics of AI applications in marketing, yay or nay for it? Do you think that it has a place, carte blanche, or do you think there's a place for oversight bodies in the uses of AI for in the world of iGaming? So Simon, we'll start with you.
Okay, I got really excited.
Oh, sorry, no. If you wanted to follow up.
No, I was like, I know we're out of time, and I was like, shit. I was looking at the clock.
So, well, no, that's not true. I said an hour and a half, right?
So we have. I just need to get this point across. So I was just thinking about what you said, right? It's just okay. Someone is now picking what we're getting. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. And honestly, like I'm very optimistic. I'd love some help cherry picking what I'm picking. I was thinking the first thing that hit me when ChatGPT came out was like, finally, now I don't need to use Kayak to book my flights anymore because someone is going to understand my travel habits and someone is going to help me. Is it going to be Bing doing that for me? No, it's not. But AI assistance is going to be big. That's going to be a huge breakthrough in the next coming, we don't know, 24 months, something like that. There is going to be a lot of that because that's going to help save a lot of time. Yes, I think there is a place for I don't think within gaming necessarily. I think we need to self-regulate. I think we need to be like protecting our own brand identities, and I think there are things that we need to develop and policies and responsibilities against our customers in terms of what we're doing. I think we should be upfront. Fast Track would be. We would be upfront about that, and we would be clear. But it needs to be regulated 100%, and there needs to be. But I'm not sure gaming needs to do that in particular. I think it's maybe on a grander scheme that it needs to happen because this doesn't just affect one business. But there might be things that I'm not thinking about right now in a specific area.
Sure. Aurimas.
Yes, so I will maybe repeat a few things that I mentioned in my mind. Yes, regulation needs to happen for AI. One of the things why it needs to happen so that basically real people still have the value of creating unique content, whether it's images or texts, basically. So there needs to be some regulation where you cannot just take AI, scrape, get some content from some website and return an answer for the user without ever mentioning from where you got this content. So regulation can happen in the way where, let's say, you have to license a piece of content for it to be used for AI. Then, okay, maybe you can say that you don't need to mention anything about the original author. But basically, if you scrape the content without the knowledge of the website, without getting a license or something like that, that's why API now, Reddit wants to charge a lot of money, Twitter increased the prices and so on, so that it's like not for free that you can get this information and then use it for your own tools for commercial benefit, basically. So I think that needs to happen somehow. Like real users, real people creating content should still have some value. So through regulation, hopefully we can achieve that.
Gesina.
Yeah. So I'm positive about AI, and I think AI will stay for sure. And I think, as I said before, AI won't take over like our entire jobs. It will just be a tool being supportive for certain tasks. And as Ori said, I think AI also should be regulated. That's for sure. Yeah.
And Alexiei, final words.
I think the ethical issues of AI are very important. As you mentioned before, AI is a very powerful tool, but it's still a tool. It can be used to do a lot of good, but also a lot of bad. So I think we need to have very, very strict ethical frameworks, as there are even in Malta, in order to ensure that we use that tool, we use it to maximum potential, but we use it in the right way as well.
Well, everybody who is here, thank you very much. Thank you very much, my panelists, iGaming Next, and those who stuck it out with us for the entire day. Go upstairs, enjoy your drinks. Have a great night.
Let's go.